Got it. Amen. Brought to you by the Joy Network.
It's time for the weekly sports page with the dynamic David Coleman.
Hey, David, how you doing, man?
Chills.
Teresa, how you doing?
Oh, yeah, and a whole lot of other great.
Appreciate y'all joining me.
555-525-5683. Tweet your questions at Dynamic Sports PA or Facebook. Drop a line on Dynamic Weekly Sports Show. Sit back, relax, and groove while Dynamic drops sports in your ear hole. Now here's Dynamic David Coleman.
Boom, what's happening? Good morning and welcome to the weekly sports magazine. I'm Dynamic Dave. I'm here every Saturday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. talking sports. 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with us if you want to join the show. Or you can hit me up on Facebook or YouTube. Just go out and look for the weekly sports magazine. As a matter of fact, and I send the show manager. I don't have it. I will be talking a lot of sports today. Of course, we got the best old school bumper music in the universe. 855-525-5683. People are already hit me up this morning. As a matter of fact, today what we're going to do, we're going to be jamming our old school bumper music, and it's going to be a group that I love. They're called Loose Ends. Yeah, a British rock group, or I should say a British R&B jazz group. These were some bad brothers and sisters right here. So in the meantime, in between time, you know, as I always say every Saturday morning, before we get started, I got to show you my manners and speak to everybody. So, what's up, Central Arkansas? Little Rock, North Little Rock, South End, East End, West End, Lono, Sherwood, Jacksonville. Did I leave anybody out? Carlisle. Did I leave anybody out? Well, if I did, charge it to my head and not to my heart. We're going to have a good show today. All right. Want to holler at Teresa Phillips in Nashville, Tennessee. Coming up to see you here in a few weeks, Teresa. We're headed to the John Merritt Classic. One of the games I used to call. I hadn't been to see a TSU football game in quite some time. So looking forward to getting back to Nashville and seeing some of my old friends and hanging out at some of my old haunts. So hats off to Teresa Phillips and the great job that the Tennessee State Big Blue Tigers are doing up there. What's up, Pine Bluff, Arkansas? I can't talk about an HBCU unless I talk about of course, the Pine Bluff Golden Lions. So good morning to you all down there in PB. Nolans, let's say bon ton roulette, baby. Let the good times roll. Good morning and welcome to the Weekly Sports Magazine. I got a special shout out coming up here in just a moment. I also want to shout out to my very dear friends on the East Coast. Flying slow in a day, I'll call you out to. Okay, all right, that's cool, David. I got your number. Let's see what else. Everybody, wait a minute. Can I get a 20? Can I get a 20 here? Why the heck is everybody sending me messages all of a sudden while I'm on the air? What's up with that? But that's all right. See, this is where everybody know they can catch me. I'm here all the time, so they just figure, hey, I'm not going to call him at night. I'll just call him at the radio station because he's probably sleeping on a cot in the back room. Oh, my gosh. Oh, man, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Oh, I was speaking to everybody. Sierra Coleman in Chicago, Illinois. And more importantly, I got to give a shout out to my son, Akili Kari Coleman. This is a special shout out to him and his soon-to-be new wife. It's happening today. And no, I'm not there because it's in Hawaii. And I got to admit, it was one of those spur-of-the-moment weddings. No, ain't nobody pregnant that I know of. But they're getting to married today in Hawaii. Soon to be Sonetta Coleman will marry my son, Akili Coleman. And so today I'm getting a daughter-in-law. See, don't laugh at me, okay? I can't help it. I'm not used to this. All right? This is the first child that I've had to be married. So to say daughter-in-law, I got to get used to that. Okay? So, happy wedding day to Akili and Sonata Coleman. All right? All right. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today. A lot of sports. Certainly, we're going to still some fallout from the NBA, of course. They're upset. We'll get into that. Let's see. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George met the media last week in, what do they call it? In Los Angeles, the Clippers. We'll talk about that. NFL training camps have started today, or this week. Of course, you all know that I'm a Raider fan. I'm still debating on how I'm going to cover the NFL this year. You know, I haven't watched much NFL the last, 3 years? I haven't watched much at all. And that is directly related to the Colin Kaepernick situation and the lack of respect that the NFL have for black people. So I'm still debating how I'm going to cover it, but I think I may go ahead and come back. So if I do, then we'll be doing NFL picks. And this year, everyone that beats me will get a Coleman's Dynamic gift box. All right? I haven't decided yet, but I'm probably going to do a little NFL this year. Of course, we're going to pick college football as well. So that's coming up. College football is right around the corner. We are hoping to have every Saturday morning, as we did last Saturday, the head football coach for the Little Rock Central Tigers to come on and recap the game for us. So we'll do that as well. We'll get him about 15 minutes. So we're looking forward to that as well. So those are some of the things that we're going to be doing. In fact, I've got to reach out to Coach here real soon. So, and we're trying to work out a broadcast for Little Rock Central as well. Okay? So I'll keep all of you all posted on all of those things. So that's what's on the agenda today. And of course, one of my favorite all-time groups. When I first got into radio at WSMS at the University of Memphis, the only time that I ever spun records was at WSMS. And it was a jazz show. Okay? So one of the groups that I introduced to the folks at WSMS, because they weren't hip to loose ends. Yeah. Yeah. Watching you, watching me. Yeah. Yeah. Y'all know I'm rocking up in here today. Real Talk, Real Money is coming up at 9 o'clock. I believe Antoinette Timms is going to be in today. All right, I'm sorry. I got lost in the music. Well, I did. Shoot. Anyway, we got a lot of stuff to talk about there. So I'll tell you what. Let's do this. Let's take a quick break, and when we return, we'll jump into some of the headlines that we want to discuss today. You're listening to the weekly sports magazine. I'm Dynamic Dave on joinatradio.com.
To you for a moment. How many people come up to you and say, hey, I didn't know you had a business? Yeah, that can happen when you don't have it. I have a solution. Advertise on joinatradio.com and let the world know that you're in business. I know what you're thinking. Advertising is so expensive. I've got a great package for you that will cut your expense and increase your bottom line. It's only $125 for startup of your businesses. Call me, David W. Coleman, 615-554-0568, and I'll put together a package specifically for your business. Now is the time to tell the world, hey, I'm in business. Come spend your money on quality goods.
Jason Matthews, what's happening, man? I was talking about you the other day.
Here's the number. Call me, 615-554-0568.
Hey, Jason, how you doing, man? I was talking about you the other day.
And building your brand.
Hi, I'm attorney Theo Thompson.
Hope things are going well with you, my friend.
Whether it's criminal defense, bankruptcy, personal injury, or family law, I want to help you. I can be reached at 501-503-5095. Don't face your legal issues alone. You need an attorney whose primary objective is to provide you with the best legal representation. Our office address is 415 North McKinley, Suite 710 in Little Rock. I'm attorney Theo Thompson, and I want to provide you with the best legal representation.
I'm so glad I found the Kick Above. It's like my very own personal training studio. A Kick Above removed the guesswork and intimidation and offered me a very supportive and structured environment specific to my personal goals. Kim Leverett and her certified personal trainers even offered nutritional guidelines for my personal workout. It's about me at a Kick Above. Call 501-868-8850 or go to akickabove.com. Now, what am I wearing tonight? Thanks to a Kick Above, I look marvelous.
Mitchell Funeral Home welcomes all of Arkadelphia and Arkansas in Clark County since 1966. At Mitchell Funeral Home, they understand that the funeral is a celebration of life and legacy, so the entire staff takes great pride in the caring, personal, and professional services they provide. Cremations, funeral planning, burial policy, life insurance, notary, and monument sales are just a few of the services they offer. Flexible packages are available as well. Mitchell Funeral Home appreciates the trust and confidence placed in them and will continue to enhance their services so as to serve you better. Call now. Get connected. 870-246-2611. That's 870-246-2611. Call, click, or come by. MitchellFuneralServices.com. Don't wait till we're needed. Call us now. Let's walk through this together. 870-246-2611. It's quality you can appreciate and service you can depend on at Mitchell Funeral Home.
Yeah. Yeah. Right now, we're jamming the best old school bumper music in the universe on the weekly sports magazine. This morning, joining the crew is Loose Ends. Yeah, y'all say loose ends. Who are loose ends? Y'all need to check them out. You know, this cut in the background that I'm jamming, it's called You Can't Stop the Rain, baby. You know that? From falling. Ow! Come on. Y'all come on, get your song. Man, that's a nice cut right there, man. I hope y'all stick with me all morning. We jamming loose ends all morning long. And if you've never heard of loose ends, look, I told you I started jamming loose ends back in the 80s. I can't believe that group is that old. Man, but they were funky. Ooh! You can't stop the rain, baby. Come on, tell them. Tell them. I'm feeling some kind of way this morning. It's Saturday morning. The sun is shining. I'm breathing. I'm above ground. Oh. I'm having too much fun today. I'm sorry. I do this because, you know, a lot of people watch and listen to the show. And Saturday morning, they expect for you to be hyped. Well, a lot of y'all say I'm hyped every day. But, I mean, I guess I am sometimes, you know. But anyway, are y'all ready to talk some sports? I've been procrastinating. I've just been sitting here jamming. I've been jamming loose ends ever since I got here about 7 o'clock this morning. So I just wanted to jam a little bit more. And I was going to play somebody else, but I got to thinking, man, that loose ends is sounding so good. I think I'll just play some loose ends. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I did. 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with me if you want to call the show. Whatever's on your mind. You know, they usually call this part of the year the dog days of summer, of sports talk. And the reason they do that is because a lot of sports talk show hosts, they don't know what to do this time of the year. They are so, how can I say it? They are so caught up. And they are so, I'm sorry, I was reading a post from my son. I'm posting, let me do that. All right. I'm posting on his wall right now. So he'll see this. I just posted my show on his wall this morning. So he can check it out. So he's not up yet because he's in Hawaii. And today is the day that he and Sonata gets married. So I want them to see that I'm dedicating the show to both my son and my new daughter-in-law. So I wish them lots and lots of luck. I mean, where else would you want to get married except somewhere like Hawaii? You know what I'm saying? That ain't too bad. You know, to get married in Hawaii. So I wish them lots of luck. I'm going to tell you, you're going to need it. Any marriage, you're going to need it. Believe me. Okay? So, anyway, y'all have a good time. Y'all have a good day. And enjoy yourselves. All right? Keep your business to yourself. Don't put everybody else in your business. Keep your mama and your daddy out your business. And y'all do you. Okay? Keep your friends out your business. And y'all do you. All right? And the Creator will show favor on you both and your family. All right. I'm tired of the mushy stuff. Can we just do some sports? Why, yes, sir. We can do some sports. All right, what do we want to talk about? All right, so we know that the NFL free agent season has finally wind down. Finally. Man, it took a long time for it to come to fruition, but it has finally wind down. Last week, you saw the Los Angeles Clippers and Ballmer. And I got to talk a little bit about Steve Kerr, too. But the owner, Mr. Ballmer, for lack of a better term, was at a pep rally or what? He's really excited about getting both Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. And I imagine Clipper fans are as well. They're finally saying, see, now we can finally beat up our big brother. Their big brother being the Los Angeles Lakers. I don't think that it's going to make a difference. I'm going to be honest with you. Later on in the show, I'm going to compare the deuces. Okay? I'm going to compare big jokers and little jokers. You know, like when you're playing spade, when you get the big joker and the little joker, everybody think they got the big joker and the little joker. So I'm going to compare them. And let's talk about that this morning. Because personally, I believe that when you look at the teams, let's see, you've got the Clippers, you've got the Lakers, you've got the Rockets, you've got the Brooklyn Nets, and I'm trying to think who else got a double whammy. You could kind of say the Bucks, because Middleton went back. So when you look at these two, the twos, the big joker and the little joker, who came out the best? Now, I know the argument is as far as the Clippers are, and here's the other thing. You all need to stop this mess where you automatically claim that just because someone has this asset or that asset, that they're going to win the NBA championship or any championship for that matter. We saw that last year with the Alabama-Clemson game. Going into that game, everybody had Alabama. Not many people, there were a few, but the odds makers, Vegas, all of them said it was going to be Alabama. Clemson waxed that tail. If you watch enough sports, you know, part of the reason that I don't bet on sports, and when I mean bet on sports, that means take my hard-earned money. You know those green things we call dead presidents? You know, the moolah, that stuff. I don't bet my hard-earned money on football and basketball games. The only time I would bet on a sporting event is if I were involved in it. That means I'm actually participating in that sporting event. You know why? Because I trust me with my money. You get what I'm saying? So I know if I got $100 on the line, I'm out there, I'm going to bust my ass making sure I don't lose that $100. But when you bet on some of these other teams, man, you throwing your money down a rat hole. You might as well drive up to the interstate on the off-ramp and give it to one of them homeless people. So I don't bet on sports. But some people do. So when you look at what's going on right now, first of all, a lot of the small market teams are upset. Let me just get to this article real fast. Because they're upset because nobody wants to come and play with us. Okay? So apparently last week there was an intense NBA owners meeting with that might change free agency. Now, the NBA owners, I will tell you, and I'm going to read a little bit of this article from ESPN. It's from Brian Windhorst. The NBA owners are upset with the players because the players dominate the league. Now, here's why the NBA players dominate. Now, certainly you can look at LeBron and all those guys, but there's another reason. What has made the NBA such a whirlwind the last few years? You know, there's a particular demographic that has launched the NBA in the stratosphere. And I'm laughing because over the last 2 weeks, you heard a lot of old coots, particularly old white coots, who are baseball fans, whining that, especially during the All-Star week, you know, the NBA took all the air out of the balloon during All-Star week for Major League Baseball. You barely heard anything about Major League Baseball and the All-Star week. Part of that is Major League Baseball's problem. But the other thing is that the NBA has blown up to such proportions that it is now a 365, 24/7 follow. And I use the term follow purposely. Because when you look at the demographics of who watches sports, the NBA by far has the youngest demographic that is following sports. In other words, the millennials are carrying the NBA. You can see it on Twitter, you can see it on YouTube, you can see it on Instagram, Facebook, you name it. Millennials are following the NBA, and that's why it has such staying power at this point. Major League Baseball doesn't have that. Major League Baseball would love to have that. But the average age of viewers for Major League Baseball, I believe is like 58 or 59 years old. Football, the average, and I'll look it up to be sure, but I know basketball has the youngest demographics. So if you're the NBA, you've got to be thrilled. Because who are the people that are spending money? Younger demographics, 13 to 29. Those people are carrying this league. So that's why you're seeing the NBA such a franchise all of a sudden. The other thing is this. See, the younger demographics, the one thing, I tell you all the time that I'm a Philadelphia 76er and Oakland Raider fan, have been since my inception. Since I knew about sports, I've been their fans. The younger demographics don't work like that. They are fans of players. So when a player leaves and goes to another team, they just pack up their bag and go with that player. LeBron James is a classic example of that. You would tend to believe, and many older people tried to get you upset what LeBron James did a few years ago. The young folks said, oh no, I ain't carrying that water. I'm still a LeBron James fan. When LeBron James went back to Cleveland, same thing. LeBron goes to LA, same thing. But LeBron, although he may have created this phenomenon, it is across the league now. They don't care that Kawhi Leonard went to Toronto and then now he's at the Clippers. If you are a Kawhi Leonard fan, see, here's the thing. People of the NBA are fans of players. They are not necessarily fans of teams. So wherever their guy is playing, that's who they're going to fall in love with. You saw that with Kevin Durant fans. You're going to see that with James. Look, I guarantee you, my son is a Russell Westbrook fanatic. I mean, you want to get in an argument, just walk up to my son and say, Russell Westbrook sucks. Man, you don't want to get in that argument with my son. So I promise you that he's going to follow, although he was an Oklahoma City Thunder fan, but it was in part because of Russell Westbrook. I promise you that he's going to follow Russell Westbrook to Houston. Not that he's going to become a Rocket fan. He's a Russell Westbrook fan. You saw that with Kevin Durant when he went to Golden State. Kevin Durant still had, although he was quirky, he was weird, he was setting up burner accounts. People still loved Kevin Durant. And all of a sudden, Golden State got, more fans. You saw that with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. This is going to continue. This phenomenon in the NBA is unbelievable. So the fact that the Board of Governors are upset, you ought to be happy because that means everybody's getting paid. Now, I know everybody want to be able to hold up the Larry O'Brien, the Larry O.B., but I'd be glad to just be cashing some of those checks. So let me read a little bit of this article by Brian Windhorst. When the NBA's Board of Governors convened earlier this month in Las Vegas, the owners' heads were spinning from a league-shaking flurry of deals that reshaped their realities in a matter of days. The powerful men and women, some through clenched teeth and others through open arms, asked themselves two basic important questions. What the hell just happened? And what should we do about it? What followed was potentially a pivotal discussion that exposed fears, examined inner workings, and authored fixes aimed at trying to level off the playing field that has gone full tilt. Within days, the league opened an investigation centered on the timing and some of the earliest reported free agency deals on June 30th. Sources familiar with the matter told ESPN. The scope of the investigation is developing. It is expected to include interviews with players and possibly agents and team employees. It will also touch on other questions that were raised by the Board of Governors, including methods of circumventing the salary cap to provide stars extra benefits. So we heard that Kawhi Leonard's uncle, who's been handling his business, he wanted a house. I'm just saying, he wanted all kinds of little perks. The league has the power to punish teams it finds to be guilty of tampering before June 30th. The investigation followed a tense owners meeting, which multiple sources described. Hornets owner Michael Jordan, speaking as head of the labor committee, discussed the possible need to revisit free agency rules in the next collective bargaining agreement. Really, Michael Jordan? Okay. Mark Larcy, co-owner of the Milwaukee Bucks, spoke of his concern of gray areas of tampering rules. It was lost on no one in the room that Milwaukee's franchise player, Giannis Antetokounmpo, could be the next sought-after star in free agency in 2021 if he does not sign an extension with the team before then. Other owners expressed frustration that some deals had apparently been agreed to well before the official start of the free agency. And this article goes on and on. And to the point, free agency started June 30th. Okay, at 6 p.m. if I remember correctly. By 6:05, damn near everybody and their mama had a contract. Now, where was the negotiation? Think about that. So it is kind of weird that all of those guys signed those long-term contracts. I mean, soon as the 6 o'clock hour hit, boom, you started seeing those contracts. Boom, 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 boom. That's not the way it's supposed to work. So I can understand that them being a little frustrated, owners. Because the whole point of the free agency period is to give teams an opportunity to approach potential players and make them offers to come to that team. But that didn't happen. Many of these free agencies already had deals, not signed, but written. They were just waiting until 6 o'clock. And that's not how it's supposed to happen. So I agree that something needs to be done about that. Now, what you can do about it, see, unfortunately today with social media, man, how do you fix that? It's going to be interesting to watch. 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with us. I've got to go out, and we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about this a little bit more because I think it's interesting what may transpire. Back in a moment, you're listening to the Weekly Sports Magazine on joynetradio.com. show. All right, just let me know. Thanks, man.
Have a good one.
You too. All right, welcome back to the show. Dave Coleman here, the Weekly Sports Magazine. We were talking about the NBA. How are they going to fix this problem? Because it is a problem. Not that players are going different places. It's just the way they are using the free agency to go different places. If you tell me free agency doesn't start until 6 p.m. on June 30th, and at 6:05, everybody that's a free agent already has deals, that means that somebody was doing some negotiation prior to free agency. That is technically what they call tampering. Okay? No matter how you look at it, that's tampering. So how do you fix the problem? That's a good question. So trying to subpoena cell phones, that's not going to happen with players. You're not getting my cell phone. You're not an official body. You're not getting my cell phone. I might talk to you, but I'm not giving you my cell phone. That's going to be a problem. How do you fix that problem? As far as players are concerned, let's take, for instance, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, they negotiated for themselves prior to even the season being started. They knew, ending I should say, those two guys knew that they were going to Brooklyn. They already knew it. So how is the league going to keep me, superstar player A, from going on a trip with superstar player B, sharing a sifter of cognac and a fatty? I said, man, I always wanted to play with you, dog. I like your game. Oh, man. Then player B said, man, I've been checking you out, too. I like your game, too, man. Just think what it would be like if we played together. Well, what did that be like, man? And you all come up and say, hey, let's make a pact. We're both going to be free agents. Or, in one case, man, I'm going to get out of this contract. If I can get out of this contract, man, I'm going to go and play with you in Brooklyn. How you going to stop that, NBA? You can't stop that. You can't stop players from talking to one another about playing together. The NBA has changed. In fact, sports as a whole has changed. Back when I was growing up, you were loyal to teams because those players were loyal to that team. Although we know that the team wasn't always loyal to those players. Thus, trades. But when I was growing up, we were loyal to teams all the time. That's who we cared about, were teams. Players hated other teams. They hated other players on teams. They didn't want anything to do with them. Nowadays, it's not like that. These guys hang out together. All of them are millionaires. They probably have the same, some of them have the same agents. Some of them have the same travel agents. Some of them go kick it at the same haunts. Because I'm going to be honest with you, don't be surprised if Chris Paul ends up in Los Angeles. Don't be surprised. It may not be within the next couple of months, but by December 15th, I'm telling you, Chris Paul is going to be in LA. Don't be surprised. These guys hang out with each other. They know each other. Man, they got the same real estate agents. Some of them live in the same neighborhoods in the off season. Some of them go on vacation with families together in the same places. Wives know one another. How are you going to keep these guys from saying, yo, man, if you were playing with us, man, we'd kick it. Now, look, that's the exact same thing that Golden State did with Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant was playing against Golden State. He knew prior to him going to Golden State that he was going to Golden State. I'm not going to believe anything else. He knew he already had talked to the people at Golden State and said, hey, look, if in fact we lose, I'm going to play for Golden State. How are you going to stop this problem? How are you, and especially with social media now, look, I can set up a private chat with anybody I want in this country, in the world for that matter. How are you, the NBA, going to stop players from setting up private chats and talking to one another about, hey, man, why don't you come play in Brooklyn? Or why don't you come play in Boston? Or why don't you come play in Philadelphia? You're not going to stop that, man. Now, you can potentially penalize teams. So let me give you another example. And we saw it during the All-Star pick. Remember, it was LeBron James and Giannis Antetokounmpo, right? And remember the comment that Giannis Antetokounmpo said when LeBron picked Anthony Davis as his first pick? You don't think LeBron and Anthony Davis had already talked about AD coming to LA prior to the All-Star game? The point is, man, you're not going to be able to stop this free agency thing. At least you're not going to be able to stop players from negotiating with other players. Now, you certainly can stop teams offering deals 3 minutes after free agency starts. Look, this has been going on for quite some time. I would be curious to find out how the league, let's see, and I'm looking at this article, and right now, I don't see any suggestions on how the league can stop players from negotiating with other players. There's no way you can do it. And by the way, Michael Jordan, if you were such a great owner, why is it that nobody wants to come and play for you? It could be you, dog. No one wants to go and play in Charlotte. It could be the owner. It could be the general manager. You don't think these players talk? Oh, Michael is the GOAT, but man, he's a sorry-ass manager. He's a sorry-ass GM. Man, don't go to Charlotte, man. Michael tried to nickel and dime you. You don't think these players talk? It's kind of funny. It's kind of like when you own a job. Your employer, they will tell you don't discuss your salary with other employees. Wait a minute, dude. That's my salary. Why wouldn't I discuss it with other employees? Because, see, they don't want you to know that they are paying some employees better than they're paying you. And then once that's found out, then there's all kinds of stuff going on. But see, in the NBA, you know what everybody's making. They announce those contracts. So they got a problem in the end. It's a small problem. Because at the end of the day, I'm telling you, the fans love it. The fans love it. They love the interaction that the NBA, social media of all the sports, I think the NBA has benefited the most from social media. I really do. Their players are interactive. Their players respond. Whether you like what Kevin Durant did or not when he started those burner accounts, that's all the more point what I'm saying. These players are responding to, let's see, let me type this in for pro. Let me see if I can get, I'm looking for the demographics of pro sports. Okay. And I don't necessarily want the race, but let's see if measured demographics. I'll look for that in a moment. But I'm telling you, man, that as far as the fan is concerned, let me see what this article says. Now, The Atlantic has, this article was written back in 2014. Which sports have the highest, richest, and oldest fans? So I'm looking at a graph. The average sports audience, the NFL, as far as their championships, the NFL obviously is above all of them. Then it's the NBA Finals. Now, the NFL just regular season, okay. You find that those sports that have, let's see, here it is. Here's something. Okay. The NBA has the youngest audience with 45% of its viewers under 35. It also has the highest share of black viewers, 45%, 3 times higher than the NFL or NCAA basketball. Let me go on. Major League Baseball shares the most male-heavy audience at 70% with the NBA. So do you understand what I'm saying here? The NBA's demographics, they have 45% of its viewers are 35 and under. That's where your disposable income kicks in, folks. And then 45% of its viewers are black viewers. If you remember last week, I was talking about Major League Baseball. And part of the problem with Major League Baseball is that it is too white and it's too old. Remember, I was telling you about why I think now there's like 3 to 4% black players in Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball purposely did that. They made baseball a white sport. And now they are paying for it. Now, I know the ballparks in some places are packed. Let me give you an example. In 2014, Major League Baseball World Series got a 14-9. The NFL regular season got a 17.4. The NBA Finals, compared to the World Series, got a 17.7. That's damn near 3 points higher than the major leagues. Because young people and black people are not watching the Major League Baseball. I'm just being real with you here. So the regular season for Major League Baseball, 0.69 viewers. Man, that's barely negligible. The NBA has a 1.4. Of course, the NFL is 17.4. They're the big guy in the room. But what Major League Baseball doesn't understand is that if you want to increase your viewership, you've got to do 2 things. You've got to get younger, and you got to get black folks on that field. See, me as an old cat, an old black guy, yeah, I'm old. I'm 58 years old. I grew up loving baseball. Man, my first love for baseball, my first pro baseball team, the Oakland Athletics. Reggie Jackson, Catfish Hunter, Raleigh Fingers, Vita Blue, Sal Bando. Those cats. 72, 73, 74, where they won it 3 years in a row. That was my team. Love those uniforms. 79, the Pittsburgh Pirates. Papa Stargell. All those cats. Ken Tacovey. The average black kid couldn't name a starting baseball player today, and that's Major League Baseball's fault. But my point being about all of this, the NBA can be upset, but the NBA has got to be happy. Do you need to tweak the free agency and fix that? Yeah. Guys should not have a deal. The free agency starts at 6 o'clock. Though they should not have signed deals at 6:01, 6:02. They should not have potential deals. In fact, they shouldn't know about any deals at 6 o'clock. The free agency period is designed for teams to negotiate with those players. And if you got a deal at 6:01, 6:02, apparently negotiation already went on. Now, the other thing is this. You cannot stop players from negotiating with other players. There is nothing you can do about it. We know that Anthony Davis had already talked to LeBron James. We know that Paul George had already talked to Kawhi Leonard. In fact, news came out last night that Kawhi Leonard tried to get the Spurs to sign Paul George. So this has been in the works for almost over 2 years with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. You can't stop that as a league. What did James Harden say about Russell Westbrook? We played together, we understand each other at Oklahoma City. Yeah, let's get Russ. You can't stop that. And by the way, a couple of these players like Russell Westbrook was still under contract. So was Paul George. Don't get mad because you let the guy out of his contract. New Orleans, don't be upset with Anthony Davis. He still had 2 years on his deal. You got mad because the Los Angeles Lakers put a bug in Anthony Davis's ear. They blew on his earlobes, and he got tickled. That tickles. And instead of you going and grabbing Anthony Davis by the ear and saying, hey, look, you are under contract. You ain't going no damn where. What did you do? You got mad at Anthony Davis and tried to lock him in his room. And then you went in and further said, okay, if you want to go, we're not going to play you. If you want these guys to live up to their contracts, then hey, you need to live up to yours. Don't get mad because the players are now doing the owners the way the owners have been doing players for decades. Oh man, you've outlived your contract. It's time for you to go. Or we found the next best thing since sliced bread. You're toast. I'm not mad about this at all. These teams, regardless of what league it is in, they are getting the same thing that they've been dishing out to players. That's just the bottom line on that. So what are they going to do? I don't know, but it's been fun. I'm just mad that my Philadelphia 76ers didn't go after Russell Westbrook. Maybe they'll go after Chris Paul, but now that they've signed Ben Simmons for 5 years, $170 million, that kind of tied their hands. You just signed a point guard that can't even shoot jump shots. My biggest criticism, a lot of people like Rajon Rondo. My biggest criticism of Rondo, great point guard, great defensive player, but the guy couldn't shoot free throws and he couldn't shoot jump shots. He was a liability in close games at the end. If Ben Simmons could shoot jump shots, probably the Philadelphia 76ers will be NBA champions. So, how do you fix the problem? That's going to be interesting to see coming up. 855-525-5683 is the number. We're about to close at the top of the hour. I want to make sure that I talk a little bit about LSU. Last week, LSU revealed a brand new locker room for its players. Have y'all seen it? Have you all ever seen some of these flights, these international flights? And they have these little nooks where it's got a bed you can lay down in. It's got its own television. That's what's in the LSU locker room. Every player now will have one of those lockers. It has a nook. It has a little television that they can watch. They can plug into their social media. All of that stuff. That one locker room costs $28 million. Do you hear me? The new LSU locker room costs $28 million. Now, let me ask you a question. I'm just curious. Where the hell did LSU get $28 million to spend on a locker room? Exactly. I can tell you where they got that money from. Let me just see what have they announced the SEC payouts as of yet? Let me just look for the schools this year. SEC payout for 2019. Let's see. Just looking at an article on USA Today. Here's the title. The SEC has record revenue in 2018, but Big Ten schools rake in more per school distribution. Okay, the SEC had just under $660 million for fiscal 2018. That resulted in an average of $43,700,000 to be distributed to 13 different schools. Mississippi did not get a full share because of its football team being banned from postseason play. The Big Ten got $50 million per school. So LSU just spent $28 million on a locker room, folks. But we can't pay them damn players. No. Man, we can go spend money on trinkets. We can go spend money on baubles and trinkets and pretty things. But we can't pay that player that has a mama at home starving to death. Can't do that. No, we can't do that. But we can go spend $28 million on a locker room. But no, we cannot spend that money on players. We cannot give that player a stipend. Oh, that's against NCAA regulations. But we can go spend $28 million on a locker room. Did I say LSU spent $28 million on a locker room? You know, the Arkansas Razorbacks just redid theirs. I don't know, it doesn't look like LSU's, but they spent a pretty penny up there too. Where'd that money come from? Who made that money? Did the volleyball team make that money? Did the baseball team make that money? Let me ask you a question. Did the track team make that money? Hell to the no. Football and basketball players made that money. But we can't give any money to poor black players who come from the ghetto, whose mama and daddy are at home starving to death, who has little brothers and sisters who don't have a change of clothes, who can't buy school supplies. But we sure as hell can spend $28 million on a locker room. So when you when you bring mom and daddy down here, you can say, "Ooh, mama, look. Ooh, mama, look. Look what they did for us." And then mama says, what they gonna do for the family? This is a joke, folks. And I know a lot of fans were excited. I know LSU fans are, ooh, look what they did for us. Look what they did for our teams. Give me a break. This is another classic example of the NCAA spitting in the faces of everybody, expecting you to be thinking that you're okay and not realizing that they're treating like you're a dumbass. The argument that you can't pay these players is moot at this point. The LSU locker room proved that question. The LSU locker room proved that question. You need to be paying these players and stop blowing smoke up our butts and trying to pretend like it's a campfire. Hey, we got to take the top of the hour break. When we come back, we'll get into more of this. We've got more sports headlines as well. NBA, what are you going to do about tampering? LSU, college football and basketball, why aren't you paying these players? $28 million for a state-of-the-art locker room. You know, last I checked, the only thing I need in my locker room is a shower and a locker. I don't need no TV. I don't need no bed. Oh, I definitely need a whirlpool. But how the hell are you going to tell me you're going to spend $28 million on a locker room and you can't pay these players? Man, the NCAA really think we're damn fools. And some of you all are carrying their water. This don't make any sense, man. And I don't even talk about how much money the coaches are making. I mean, Nick Saban is making close to $11 million a year when you throw in all the little perks that he gets. The lowest paid coach in the SEC is making $4 or $5 million. Come on, man. And some of their assistants are making millions. But you can't pay the players. Y'all keep believing that crap. We got to take a break. We'll be back in a moment. You're listening to the Weekly Sports Magazine. Yeah, I'm already up raising hell on a Saturday morning on joynetradio.com. Craig Ladd, how you doing, man? I'm coming to Nashville, John Mayer Classic. Hope to see you.
Business owner, can I talk to you for a moment? How many people have come up to you and said, hey, I didn't know you had a business? Yeah, that can happen when you don't advertise. I have a solution for you. Advertise on joynetradio.com and let the world know that you're in business. I know what you're thinking. Advertising is so expensive. I've got a great package for you that will cut your expense and increase your bottom line. It's only $125 for startup and new businesses. Call me, David W. Coleman, at 615-554-0568, and I'll put together a package specifically for your business. Now is the time to tell the world, hey, I'm in business. Come spend your money on quality goods in my store. Let us help you at joynetradio.com. Here's the number. Call me, 615-554-0568. We are here to assist you.
Good morning, Ladybug.
Hi, I'm attorney Gilda Thompson from the Thompson Law Firm, and I want to help with your legal matter. Whether it's criminal defense, bankruptcy,
Ladybug, what they do is they go under.
I want to help you.
I've been telling people, look, black people don't realize that if they stop their kids from playing all of this racism and stuff, it won't go away, but it'll disappear. Okay? Because just as I said, that money that was earned by that LSU spent that $28 million on, that money was earned by black players, football players and basketball players. I just gave you the number that the payout for the SEC this year. So if black players stop spending, going to these schools, the racism and bigotry that's going on in these state houses would disappear overnight. The University of Missouri proved that 3 years ago. Nobody wants to pay attention to that anymore.
Mitchell Funeral Home welcomes all of Arkadelphia and Arkansas in Clark County since 1966. At Mitchell Funeral Home, they understand that the funeral is a celebration of life and legacy, so the entire staff takes great pride in the caring, personal, and professional services they provide. Cremations, funeral planning, burial policy, life insurance, notary, and monument sales are just a few of the services they offer. Flexible packages are available as well. Mitchell Funeral Home appreciates the trust and confidence placed in them and will continue to enhance their services so as to serve you better. Call now. Get connected. 870-246-2611. That's 870-246-2611. Call, click, or come by. MitchellFuneralServices.com. Don't wait till we're needed. Call us now. Let's walk through this together. 870-246-2611. It's quality you can appreciate and service you can depend on at Mitchell Funeral Home.
It's time for the weekly sports page with the dynamic David Coleman. Stay tuned for thrills, chills, and yes, spills. Oh yeah, and a whole lot of other great stuff. Call 855-525-5683. Tweet your questions at Dynamic Sports PA or Facebook. Drop a line on Dynamic Weekly Sports Show. Sit back, relax, and groove while Dynamic drops sports in your ear hole. Now here's dynamic David Coleman.
All right, we're coming back. We're jamming loose ends all morning long. This one is called Stay a Little While, Child. I need y'all to hang around just a little bit longer. Yeah, while we rock this. Yeah. Little loose ends. Dynamic Dave. We're jamming the box this morning and talking sports as we do every Saturday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. Don't forget to check out David Ashley and Real Talk, Real Money. Coming up here in just a few minutes. Well, I shouldn't say a few minutes, at the top of the hour. Think you'll enjoy that as well. Yeah. Yeah. Look, hey, listen to this. Let's get to this. A little while. See, some of y'all don't know about Loose Ends. Loose Ends was a British group. They were from Great Britain. But man, they used to rock the box, man. I'ma tell you. They used to rock that box, man. I'ma tell you. I mean, like I said, the only time I've ever spun records was when I first got into radio. I was doing jazz at WSMS in Memphis. Yeah. Man. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. I got a little lost there. I did. I was jamming. I was listening to that Loose Ends, and it just kind of took me somewhere. Not sure where it took me, but it took me somewhere. And I'm trying to come back now. Okay. Last time we were talking a lot about the NBA and free agency, and people been mad and upset because they didn't get a player that they wanted. Look, let's be realistic. Just like people move around and pick cities to go and work in. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I have to be honest with you. There are certain cities that I wouldn't live in. Look, I got to be honest with you. I'm a little fed up with Little Rock right now. I'm thinking about hitting the road with Little Rock. Same applies to NBA players or free agents. You know, you draft them, but after that, I don't want to live in this city. I don't want to stay in this city. I'm gone, man. I'm going to the big time. New York, LA. But it is kind of funny. New York City the Knicks didn't get anybody. Brooklyn did, but I'm sorry, Knicks fans. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt y'all feelings. I know there are some Knicks fans out there that are upset that nobody wanted to come and play for the Knicks. We couldn't even get one free agent. You know, the problem, the Knicks situation, that really hurts the small market teams. Let me tell you why. Because the small market teams want to argue that because we are a small market, nobody wants to come and play with us. Well, what other market is any bigger than New York? No one wanted to go and play for the New York Knicks. So what it really means is that if you have piss poor ownership, no one wants to go play for you. And that's part of the problem. Is that Daniel Gilbert, who was the head of the Cleveland Cavaliers, during the time that LeBron James was there early on, that team, I remember LeBron James literally dragged that team on his back to the NBA Finals. Picked them up and carried them. The owner refused to put anybody around him. Because the reason they did that is because they figured, hey, we'll reap the benefits of people coming to the games and filling up our stadium, but we're not going to go out and pay any big name free agents. Long as we got LeBron, I'm making money. I ain't got to worry about nobody else. That's what they did. And that's what a lot of these owners do. That's what a lot of these owners do. These baseball, football, and basketball teams are literally banks for a lot of these owners. And they understand the salary cap. That's why they had to put in a salary floor. Because some of these owners weren't even spending enough to field teams. They were putting that money in their pockets. So stop blaming these players Stop blaming yourself and stop. Look, by the way, you're making that money because of players. Now, I know what you like to say, well, it's because of me that we have a franchise here. Man, you act like that your idea of building a arena, and by the way, you didn't build the arena. Those cities built the arenas. So shut up. 855-525-5683 is the number. Okay. I want to talk a little bit about the NFL, and I want to talk about running backs in the NFL. And we might get back to basketball here a little later. Now, here's what I want to talk about. Melvin Gordon for the Los Angeles Chargers. Ezekiel Elliott for the Dallas Cowboys. Last year, we had, I just lost my train of thought there. But last year, we had the Pittsburgh Steelers running back to hold out. Now, if you've been following this show, you've heard me say for a long time that as far as the NFL and running backs are concerned, I think running backs are getting a raw deal. Okay? I've been saying it for years. Pound for pound, the toughest person on any football team is, guess who? The running backs. Pound for pound, I was trying to think of Le'Veon Bell. Pound for pound, the toughest player on any football team is the running back. Now you're saying, well, Dave, why? What do you mean the toughest player? Here's what I mean. That running back gets hit more than anybody else on the field. He literally gets hit every play, whether he's carrying the ball or not. Let me give an example. A defensive coordinator, when a team has a tough running back, you know what the defensive coordinator says? Let's make him know you're here. You know what he means by that? That every time that running back touches the ball, you pop him. And when he doesn't touch the ball, you pop him. Okay? Every time he touches the ball, you pop him. But not only that, when the quarterback drops back to pass, what is the running back's duty? It's to block 250, 280-pound defensive linemen. Okay? To block. Then, when you drop back to pass, not only does he block, he then he got a chip block and then go out for a pass. So he needs to be a receiver. You know, this new phenomenon with Le'Veon Bell, this is not new. See Wilbur Montgomery for the Philadelphia Eagles. See Preston Pearson for the Dallas Cowboys. Running backs going out for passes is not new. That's been going on for decades. But all of a sudden now, people look, running backs now, they can go out for passes. You think? So they go out for passes. They run flare routes. They run go routes. Running backs do more on a football field than, I forgot one important thing that they do. Oh, how could I forget? They actually run the football. They run between the tackles. They get pounded by 280, 300-pound defensive linemen. A running back is the toughest player on the football field. Let me say it again. The running back, I know that defensive lineman might talk a lot of noise, but when it comes to football, the running back is the toughest guy on the field. Remember Ty Montgomery, who played for the Green Bay Packers? What did they do? Ty Montgomery was a wide receiver. When the Green Bay kept getting their running backs hurt, what did they do? They put Ty Montgomery back at running back. And then the argument was, well, you see, anybody can be a running back. No, you can't. If anybody could be a running back, then there'd be more running backs. Oh, well, we don't need to draft a running back high because they're expendable. You know what they mean by expendable? I got upset, and I want to say I was still in Nashville at the time. And there was this young running back, and I was in Nashville, who the coach had him run the ball 60 times. And I said on the show at that point, I said, if I was that kid's father, I would be raising hell with that football coach. Because there is no reason why a running back, particularly in high school, should be running a football 60 times. So here's what they do with running backs. They get running backs. They draft them low because they know they're not going to pay them any money, no matter how good they are, with the exception of people like Saquon Barkley. But they draft them low. They pound them and pound them and pound them in the turf. And after 3 or 4 years, that running back is used up. And he's only made $5 million. Compared to the quarterback who is making $80 million, or the wide receiver making $70 million, defensive lineman, you name it. Everybody makes more money than the running back, and the running back is the toughest player on the team. Because some geek has said, analytics says, don't draft running backs high because they come a dime a dozen. Part of the reason that I think that passing is taking over is because you're not finding quality running backs. If I'm a parent and I've got a kid coming up and he wants to play football, well, number one, my kid is not going to play football, but let's use this as an argument. I am not going to let my kid play football. And if he plays football, he's not going to play running back. By age 30, running backs are used up. Used up. Some earlier than that. They start saying, well, when they get about 27, running backs don't get a chance to get that long term, that second big deal. They get that. If they sign you now, the contracts now, if you're drafted in the first round, you get a 5-year deal. It's a 4-year deal with a 1-year option. And then they can string you along by tagging you as a franchise player. Use you up, boom, you're gone. That ain't fair to running backs, man. And it needs to change. Now, here's what I propose about this. If you're going to continue this same mantra about running backs they use them up early. Look, let's take, for instance, Zeke Elliott. Zeke Elliott, in 2 years, he's had 600 plus carries in 2 years. Do you understand what I'm saying? He is the workhorse for the Dallas Cowboys, but there are people out there saying, oh, well, you don't need to pay Zeke that kind of money. Now, look, I'm not a Dallas Cowboy fan by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, I detest the Dallas Cowboys. I'm talking about the game itself and individuals and positions and what people ought to be paid. So, y'all remember DeMarco Murray? Y'all Cowboy fans remember him, right? DeMarco Murray was a bad boy. He really was. By the way, he was pre-Le'Veon Bell. He caught passes out of the backfield too. But the Dallas Cowboys used him up and dumped him. And you basically never heard of DeMarco Murray again. He never got that big contract that he wanted. That's what they're going to do to Ezekiel Elliott. It's pretty clear. In fact, the Cowboys are not the only one that does that. All these teams do it now. They want running backs to come in there and play for the minimum. And then, we got this running back over here playing for $400,000. Here's the problem with that. I understand these brothers. Give you an example. The New York Giants yesterday, they've had 2 receivers to be injured already in training camp. One has an ACL. The Coleman kid has an ACL. He's out for the year. Shepard, who's a veteran, he broke his thumb, so he's going to be out 4 to 5 weeks. So the New York Giants put out a call because they're gonna have a wide receiver tryout. And see, I know and don't be surprised if there are 100 guys that show up who want to try out as wide receiver. You know why? Because that's their dream, to play in the National Football League. And some of them will take the minimum to do that. And thus, what happens with a lot of these running backs. These running backs out here, who was a kid at Kansas City last year? Who came in? Yeah, they're going to take the minimum. They have to take the minimum because they want to play. And they're hoping that some other team will see them and they'll give them a big contract. That rarely happens with running backs these days. So how do you fix this problem? Because if I were a running back, regardless of what level I was on, regardless of whether I was third string or first string, or whether I was on the taxi squad, if I were running backs, I'd band together and I wouldn't play. This is more than about Ezekiel Elliott, folks. What Le'Veon Bell did last year, he understands the dynamics of how he is being treated as a running back. You're using me up. My body is getting pounded. And then when it comes time for me to get that big deal, I get cut. Or I get franchised. And you say, well, it's okay to get the franchise tag. Well, you do realize that the franchise tag is the average of the top 3 highest paid people at your prospective position. So if you got running backs that ain't making no money, I'm just curious. Let me do a quick Google search. I'm going to do a Google search on the highest paid running backs in the NFL. Let me see if I can find something real quick. Okay. So right now, as of 2018 salaries, Le'Veon Bell, and that's the Pittsburgh Steelers. So this is for 2018. When he was at the Steelers, he was making $14.5 million. Jerick McKinnon, whomever that is, was making $10.5. LaShawn McCoy, Slim Shady, $8.9, and Ezekiel Elliott is making $6.8. Do you understand why Ezekiel Elliott is upset? He's making $6.8 million. He's still on his first deal. Now, theoretically, the Dallas Cowboys don't have to pay him a penny. He's still on the contract. But what Ezekiel Elliott is saying, and what Le'Veon Bell did to the Steelers, is, hey, pay me my worth. Forget about what the salary says. My worth is I catch passes out of the backfield. I block. I pick up blocks. I block for the quarterback. I run the ball. I deserve to make, and I forgot about Melvin Gordon. I deserve to make more money than you're paying me. You're exactly right. I'm reading a text from Jason Matthews, one of my former interns, who has thus graduated from UAPB and has gone on to start his career. He said, I went to high school with Melvin Gordon and watched him play for years. Based on performance, he deserves to be paid. He has things you cannot teach. And Phillip Rivers doesn't appreciate how he has helped prolong his average career. I agree. Phillip Rivers came out and ripped Melvin Gordon the other day. If I'm Melvin Gordon at that point, I don't even want to go back and play for San Diego. There's a reason why people don't want to play for San Diego in the first place. You remember Eli Manning was drafted by the San Diego Chargers. Some of y'all might be a little bit too young to remember that. But Eli Manning was drafted by the San Diego Chargers. They didn't want to go to San Diego because San Diego is a cluster when it comes to money. Okay? These running backs deserve to get paid. They deserve to get paid. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Let me jump out of it real fast. Let's see. Let me see what Phillip Rivers said about Gordon. They're going to get a lot of rakes, let's see, Rivers said of other backs. It certainly is a deep position for us, and those guys all love to play and work hard. We love Melvin, but we're going to go with what we've got. It's a pretty dang good group. Okay? In other words, Phillip Rivers just told Melvin Gordon to kiss his ass. See, you wouldn't want to be you. If I'm Melvin Gordon, I don't want to go back to San Diego at this point. Because it's really about money. It's about usage. Melvin Gordon and Jason, you are exactly right. Melvin Gordon that's the type of talent that you rarely see. That you rarely see. But for whatever reasons, this league don't want to play running backs. And it's ridiculous. And the only way you can fix this problem is through the collective bargaining agreement. The running backs have got to go to the Players Association and say, hey, look, our position is unique from anybody else. And our window of opportunity is less than everybody else. If you're an offensive lineman, you can play 10, 12, 14. What Bruce Matthews played almost 20 years. Defensive lineman, same. Cornerback, safety. Wide receiver. God, how long did Jerry Rice play? My point being, the only position that you cannot maximize your potential based on the length of time that you play is running back. So what they need to be able to do is go in and say, hey, look, I need to pay paid up front. This is my contract. So pay me my $10 million after my first year. Maybe I do have a rookie signing bonus. We understand that. But once the rookie year is over with, then the big dollars ought to kick in for running backs. If, in fact, they are showing that they are what their worth is. That's what I'm saying about this. What's going on right now with running backs in this league is a travesty. And everybody wants to talk about how analytics and how you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that. It's just classic example of people don't even understand these people as individuals. The only thing you see them as a robot. You don't even care about them individually. Oh, well, he's hurt. We'll just plug somebody else in. That's what Phillip Rivers said. You know what? I have never liked Phillip Rivers. And you know what? I still don't like Phillip Rivers. And everybody's talking about, well, you know, Phillip Rivers has paid his dues. Phillip Rivers deserved to get a Super Bowl. No, he doesn't. When you don't support your teammate, then no, sorry, Phil. You don't deserve to be my teammate. Reading from ProFootballTalk.com, Chargers quarterback Phillip Rivers got extremely close to, if not on the wrong side of, the line that warns football players not to get between teammates and their money. The subject of remarks, Chargers running back Melvin Gordon noticed and reacted. Wild, right? Gordon said in response to the Chiefs safety Tyrann Mathieu's one-word response, damn. In other words, that's what Tyrann Mathieu said after Phillip Rivers basically said, we don't need you. We got plenty of running backs. Now, what the other running backs ought to be thinking about, well, hell, if he feels that way about Melvin Gordon, how the hell do he feel about me? We love Melvin Gordon, but running back is a deep position for us. It certainly is a deep position for us, and those guys all love to play and work hard. We love Melvin. But we're going to go with what we've got. It's a pretty dang good group. It's basically an indication that the on-field leader of the team isn't bothered by the fact that Gordon isn't there. If I'm Melvin Gordon, I want out of San Diego. And if I'm Melvin Gordon, I do a Le'Veon Bell. See, because the argument can be made, if you're a running back, what if you waited 2 years, you played 2 years, you sat out a year, and came back and played 2 more years? Now, I know that sounds a little weird, but think about it. Think about the pounding that I just described previously about running backs and what they take on a daily basis. Think about that pounding that they go through regularly, okay? Your body never recovers, man. You think it does. Oh, they got the summer off, their body will recover. Look, anybody who has ever played that sport, especially on a higher level like college and professional, which I never played, but I played college, man, your body never recovers. It takes a long time. You're hitting every day. Now, I know the league now doesn't hit as much as we did back in the day. Your body never recovers. So if I'm Melvin Gordon, see ya. I want to go play somewhere else. I don't want to play for the Chargers. I don't want to play for a quarterback who doesn't respect that line of demarcation where when I'm talking about my money and contract negotiations, you stay the hell out of it. That's an unwritten rule in any sport. My money is my money. That's why Le'Veon Bell got so ticked off at the Steelers, if you remember. You had Pouncey, who was the center for Steelers, ripping him about his money. Dude, that's a no-no. Many people think that when Le'Veon Bell saw that his teammates was trying to chastise him about money that he wants to make, legitimate money, because I guarantee you Pouncey is making more money than Le'Veon Bell. So what's wrong with the running back wanting to make money, wanting to get paid? What's wrong with that? To me, there's nothing wrong with that. And the argument is that they spend more time on the field doing more than anybody else on the field. They have to be in better shape than anyone else. Yet you don't want to pay them. I disagree with you. I think that is just BS. I really do. It's a sad state of affairs. See, what has happened is these analytics. It's kind of like centers in basketball. You know, the one thing they used to always tell us when we were growing up is you can't teach height. You can teach fundamentals. 2 things you can't teach. You can't teach speed, and you can't teach height. That's natural. But they've told us that, hey, we've allowed analytics to come into the sport, and they're saying, hey, you can win without a center, a legitimate center. So just imagine the centers from yesteryear. Moses Malone, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Wilt, the Chief, Artis Gilmore. Man, that list goes on and on. Can you imagine having a basketball league and not having those names? Those greats in the league? Man, that's crazy. That is crazy. So I support the running backs holding out. In fact, I would love for all of them at the beginning of the season, running backs go and say, hey, look, we're not playing today. I got running back fever. I'd love for that to happen Because the NFL have got to wake up. Pay these guys. Just pay them. It's not going to hurt you. They pay the running backs as little as possible so they can pay everybody else. Because we can go out and get a running back. Well, that's part of the reason you don't have great running backs anymore. Can you imagine the league without a Walter Payton or Roger Craig or who are some other great running backs out there? O.J. Simpson. Could you imagine a league without those guys? Some can. And some owners have decided that, hey, we are going to be without those guys. Don't want to pay them. And that's a sad state of affairs. And I think ultimately what's going to happen, it's going to come back and haunt you. It really is. 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with me. We got a few more minutes to go in the show. Real Talk, Real Money is coming up here in just a moment. I believe Antoinette Timms is going to be in. She's going to be talking a lot about lupus. She is a lupus survivor, so it'll be interesting. And also, they put out, I want to talk a little bit about Baker Mayfield as well. And his hype about Baker Mayfield when we get back. You're listening to the weekly sports magazine. I'm Dynamic Dave on JoyNetRadio.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, Saints Raw, get ready from Sumter, South Carolina. It's Minister Lee Burgess and Resurrection. Minister Lee Burgess and Resurrection, a talented bunch of senior veterans, have been doing this a little while now, but have just released for your enjoyment their new single. Save me, Jesus. This new project is available on all digital outlets. Get yours now and catch up to what everybody's been talking about. Minister Lee Burgess and Resurrection. Call now, 803-847-6227. That's 803-847-6227. And enjoy Minister Lee Burgess and Resurrection.
Hi, I'm attorney Felix Thompson from the Thompson Law Firm, and I want to help you through your matter. Whether it's criminal defense, bankruptcy, personal injury, whatever, I want to help you. I can be reached at 501-503-5095. Don't face your legal issues alone. You see an attorney whose primary objective is to provide you with the best legal work. Our office address is 464 I'm attorney Felix Thompson, and I want to provide you with the best legal work.
It's like my very own personal training studio. A kick above removed the guesswork and intimidation and offered me a very supportive and structured environment specific to my personal goals. Jim Leverett and her certified personal trainers even offer nutritional guidelines for my personal workout. It's about me at a Kick Above. Call 501-868-8850 or go to akickabove.com. What am I wearing tonight? Thanks to a Kick Above, I look marvelous.
All right, welcome back to the show. We're jamming loose ends this morning. In the background, you got a little Mr. Bachelor. Yeah. Do yourself a favor. If you're not familiar with loose ends, go out there and check them out, man. They are some bad folks. Man, I love loose ends. Got to see them in concert once, so that was fantastic. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about this thing with Baker Mayfield and the hype around this guy. Okay? I saw something early in the week where they've got Baker Mayfield as one of the top quarterbacks. He's top 15. And many people are suggesting that the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Cleveland Browns are going to go to the Super Bowl. Some are suggesting. Some are calling them playoff teams. And, I'm going to tell you like this. Part of the reason that I don't do recruiting on this show, in fact, I've never done recruiting on any sports show that I've done. Because I'm kind of like this. I'm kind of like it with horse racing. You know how they do with horse racing, right? They bring them out the paddock. They parade them down in front of the main grandstand so everybody can see them. And everybody's thinking, oh, wow, man, look at that horse. Look at his hindquarters. Oh, man. And, you get all these crazy things that if a horse takes a crap before they run, then that's going to be the horse you bet on because he's lighter. Just stupid stuff. I'm one of these guys that's, look, man, I'm going to pick a horse, now tell me how they finish. I don't care what they do prior to that. Who won, who placed, and who showed. I'm like that with recruits. I don't care what you did in high school. Okay? I don't care what you did in high school. Look, the Clausen kid that quarterbacked at Tennessee, was it Casey or was it his younger brother? I think it was his younger brother. Quarterback at Tennessee, put up all these great numbers in high school, and come to find out that he played in an 8-on-8 league. In other words, all football teams, high school football teams, are not equal. So a guy that might put up 3,000 yards in his career in high school might be running for a 1A school. He's not playing in the toughest division. So why should I get happy about that guy who's putting up those big numbers in a 1A league as opposed to a guy who's playing in a 5A league and putting up not the same numbers, but even impressive numbers? Instead of running for 3,000 yards, he may have ran for 2,000. So everybody wants to say that the Cleveland Browns are going to win, at least go to the playoffs. They're a playoff team, they're saying. They're going to win the AFC North, they're saying. I'm going to tell you right now, I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to, look, I'm going to tell you, Pittsburgh Steelers are going to win the AFC North. They're going to be back. If I had to pick right now, I'd pick the Steelers. I'm sure as hell not going to pick an enigmatic quarterback who can't keep his feelings to himself, who has the nerve to be sticking his nose in other players, teammates' contracts. That's Baker Mayfield. Man, I'm tired. Look, let me just say this. If a black quarterback had done what Baker Mayfield had done to Hugh Jackson, but on the other hand, had it been to a white coach, the local media, the media as a whole they'd be all over that guy. Oh, that guy has a bad attitude. That guy has something wrong with him. That's what they'd be doing. I got to run to the door. I'll finish this up in a moment. Back in a second. Okay, sorry about that. I was talking about Baker Mayfield. I think Baker Mayfield is a joke. I think he's a jerk. And I would not want him on my team. And if that was a black quarterback who was doing the same antics that Baker Mayfield was doing, y'all would be ripping him in the media. Let's be realistic about that. But you know what I hear about? Oh, he's passionate. Or he wants to win. He wants to prove everybody wrong. Baker Mayfield is not the first person to ever play professional sports who came up on the rough side of the tracks. Black kids do that every day. You don't see them disrespecting coaches. You don't see them disrespecting their teammates. But Baker Mayfield, he has passion. If there's a person that I want to see fail more than anybody else in the NFL, you know who it is? It's Baker Mayfield. I'm not buying this hype about Cleveland. It's good. Look, I don't care that he threw more touchdowns in his debut season than Peyton Manning. Hell, if all you're doing is throwing the football, you ought to throw more touchdowns. How many games you going to win? How many games are you going to win? Again, tell me how they finish. I don't care about recruiting because you got to tell me how you finish. I don't care about you parading my horses out of the paddock. I just want to know who won, placed, and showed. I love horse racing. They're beautiful animals. But at the end of the day, I'm there for one thing and one thing only. And that's who won, who wins, who places, and who shows. And this mess, I think the ultimate insult, you're mad. Baker Mayfield gets mad at Hugh Jackson because Hugh Jackson, he gets fired by Cleveland. He takes a job at Cincinnati. And Baker Mayfield is mad because he goes and takes another job. So let me ask you a question. Let's say, for instance, Baker, you don't end up being successful in Cleveland. They cut you. You go and play for another team. Should everybody that played with you be mad at you now that you go in and play for another team? But what annoys me about this whole situation is that the media, all of the national sports media, they're giving this guy a pass. He's a jerk. He's disrespectful. He doesn't respect the game. And until you prove to me, look, I don't care if you won 7 football games. I don't care if you threw for 10 million touchdowns. If you don't win a playoff game, if you don't win a Super Bowl, you still just like everybody else in the league. And right now, Baker Mayfield or the Cleveland Browns haven't won jack. And until you do so, shut up. If anyone else was out here bragging and shooting off at the mouth and everything like that, let's just see what you do on the field. Why don't you put your play where your mouth is? Yeah, I can hear all of the anecdotes from different people in the media. Oh no, he's got that guy. He's got character issues. But you're not doing that to Baker because Baker is a white boy. I'm just being real with you. Let's take for instance, let's take Lamar Jackson. What if Lamar Jackson was doing and saying some of the same things that Baker Mayfield was? Or better still, Kyler Murray. What if Kyler Murray was, this is his rookie season. What if Kyler Murray decided to do and say the same things that Baker Mayfield has been doing? Y'all will be all over Kyler Murray. In fact, when Kyler Murray transferred from Texas A&M, I can remember some media people saying that part of the reason that Kyler Murray transferred because Kyler Murray had an attitude problem. Doesn't Baker Mayfield have an attitude problem? Hello? Oh, I know y'all don't want to comment on that because that's your boy. Y'all love y'all some Baker. Yeah, look. Until you can bake up a few wins, a playoff win, What you need to do is sit down and shut up. Because see, what you don't understand is that you basically put a target on your back. You put a target on your... Look, this is nobody but Johnny Manziel Light. That's all he is. He's Johnny Manziel Light. And until you prove to me that you can play in this game, you haven't proved anything yet. Yeah, the Cleveland Browns won 7 games last year. You didn't do that by yourself, Baker Mayfield. You didn't. 855-525-5683 is the number. About to wrap up. One other quick thing. Something happened this past week that was kind of sad, that further blackened the eye of boxing. And if you haven't seen it yet, if you haven't heard about it, it's a sad story. And you got those people that come out who hate boxing and say, see, Argentine boxer Hugo Santillan has died after a brain injury suffered in a fight on Saturday, just days after the death of Russian fighter Maxim Dadashev. There are a lot of people saying, well, see, you got to disband boxing. Boxing is a dangerous sport. Yeah, it's a dangerous sport. But here's a problem I have. I can tell you a sport even more dangerous than boxing. It's called mixed martial arts. Did you see that fight where the guy in the first 10 seconds knocked his opponent out? You know how he did it? He did a flying knee. Have you ever had your head bumped by somebody else's knee? Or better still, has someone ever elbowed you? Man, that can be painful. That's what they do in mixed martial arts, the UFC. I can do more. Part of the reason that boxing uses gloves is because they want to minimize the damage that hand to face can cause. Do you understand how much damage I can do to you if I punch you with my fist as opposed to punching you with a glove? But ain't nobody talking about UFC disbanding. And I would argue that many of these people that are probably arguing that the UFC needs to disband are, in all likelihood, UFC fans. Because right now, what's stealing most of UFC's thunder is boxing. Boxing has the tradition. Boxing has the history. UFC has only been around for what, 5, 6, 7 years? Maybe 10? So its number one competitor is boxing. It's hoping that, and I know for a fact, because I actually, we had a few of the UFC people on my show in Nashville. And they openly admitted that, hey, look, we're hoping to take some of boxing's fans. Some of those same fans that are boxing fans, we hope to bring them over as UFC fans. That was early on in the sport. You know why I don't like UFC? It's because it's brutal and it's vicious. These guys be bleeding and they let these fights go on. How can you tell me if I heard my druthers, neither one of them would exist. I don't get off on watching grown men beat the crap out of one another. I just don't. I don't get off on watching grown women beat the crap out of one another. I just don't. That's just me. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. I just don't like that. I mean, I know I come on this show and I sound like I'm tough. Maybe I am just a big softy. Maybe okay, I'm a big softy. It's something about me watching someone get a flying knee in the nose and get knocked unconscious. Yeah, I just don't want to see that. I don't. That's not sport to me. watching someone get beaten bloody, that's not a sport to me. I know some of y'all like karate and kung fu and y'all love, you know. I just, you know, when it gets to a point where you're beating the blood out of someone, that ain't working for me, sister. Okay, I'm a big softy. So my point before I wrap up the show is this. Is that if you're going to ban boxing, if you're going to say that boxing should not exist, then you got to ban UFC and mixed martial arts. Because, look, in boxing, I only use my hand. In mixed martial arts, I can kick you, I can knee you, I can elbow you, I can do all kinds of things to knock you to blank out. And everybody's in the background, woo, woo, yeah, woo, woo, did you see that? Woo! And that poor guy is laying on the ground and don't know who his mama is. So yeah, it was a tragedy what happened in boxing. 2 boxers died as a result of injuries. You know, it's just a matter of time before, and I would argue, and I believe, I don't know for sure, but I believe it's already happened in mixed martial arts. I believe it has. So before you jump out there like Billy Badass and start hating on boxing. I love boxing. Loved it. But if you're going to ban one, you got to ban them both. All right, folks, I got to make like water and flow. It's time for me to make like a tree and leave. It's time for me to make like a snake and slither. I got a million of them. Coming up, Real Talk, Real Money. Antoinette Timms is in for David Ashley again this morning. We'll talk to her in about 3 minutes. Hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to join me every Monday through Friday, 12 to 2 p.m., right here on this gigantic network. It's called Black Focus Radio. Our issues, our solutions, our voices. We make it happen. We're the real media in this city. Hope y'all have a great day. I got to make it. Talk to y'all on Monday. Bye-bye.